We're going to write this in polynomial in factored form. First, got to find the common factor. In this case, it's 2. Also, we have an x that they have in common. So you're left with x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now you're going to have to find the factors of x squared plus 5x plus 6. So we have 2x, and the factors of 6 are 3 and 2. So we have x plus 3 and x plus 2. Number 2, you're going to have to find the greatest common factor. We have x to the 4th minus x third minus 6x squared. And you notice that they all have x squared in common. So it's x squared parentheses x squared minus x minus 6. Now we're going to have to find the factors of negative 6, which will be negative 3 and 2, because negative 3 plus 2 give you negative 1. So you have x squared, you have x minus 3 times x. Number 3, the common factor is negative 3x. So you're left with x squared minus 6x, because negative 3x times negative 6x is positive 18x squared plus 9. Negative 3 times 9 gives you negative 27. So it's going to be negative 3x. Find the factors of 9 that add up to be negative 3. So you have x minus 3, x minus 3, because negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. This is a multiplicity. That's a multiplicity of 2, since the 2 are the same. Number 4, we have x to the 3rd power minus 2x squared plus x. The common factor is x. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 1. Since we were able to factor an x from each of the terms, that's the greatest common factor. The factors of 1 that give you negative 2, x, x minus 1, x minus 1, and once again, that's a multiplicity of 2. Find the zeros of each function, then graph the function. So to find the zeros, we set each factor equal to 0. So we have x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. So x equals negative 1, x equals 1, and x equals 3. And I hope you can see the relationship between the factors and the zeros. Now, you will be responsible for graphing. So we have x plus 1, we have x minus 3, and we have x minus 1, right? So it's x plus 1, x minus 3, and x minus 1. So press enter. And if you look, here's the first 0, negative 1. Here's the second 0, which is x equal 1, and the third 0 is x equal 3. Number 6, we have x equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2. And x plus 5 equals 0, so x equals negative 5. And once again, if you're going to graph, you can just use these factors here. I'm just going to say that's x, and then we have x minus 2, and then we have x plus 5, right? Mind you can also use Desmos. So here is x equals negative 5. Here is x equals 0, and here is x equal 2. Write a polynomial function in standard form with the given zeros. So we have x equals negative 1, x equals 3, and x equals 4. So we have y equals x plus 1, x minus 3, and x minus 4. And what I did is the negative 3 I moved to the left, so I added 1. The 3 I moved to the left, I subtracted 3, and 4 I subtracted 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 at a time. I'm going to multiply 2 at a time, so we have x times x, x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. 1 times x is plus 1x. And then it's minus 3 times x minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and simplify, and I'm going to move x minus 4 to the beginning. So it's x minus 4 times x squared minus 2x minus 3. Now I'm going to apply, I'm going to multiply x minus 4 times x squared minus 2x minus 3. So I have x times x squared, x times negative 2, negative 2x, negative x times negative 3 is negative 3x, negative 4 times x is negative 4x squared, and this should have been squared. And we have negative 4 times negative 2, which is positive 8x. And then negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. So I have y equals negative 3x squared. So I dealt with these. Minus 2x squared. That's going to give me negative 5x squared. 5. Negative 3x plus 8x is 5x. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and take that away. So now it's plus 12. I'm going to do 8. So we have x equals negative 3, x equals 0, x equals 0, and we have x equals 5. So we have y equals x times x, parentheses, x minus 3, or plus 3, because I'm moving the negative 3 to the left. And then we have x minus 5. X times x gives you x squared. X times x gives you x squared. X times negative 5 gives you negative 5x. 3 times x gives you plus 3x minus 15. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So you have x squared, parentheses, x squared, minus 2x minus 15. And then our last step, x squared times x squared gives you x to the 4th, negative 2x cubed, minus 15x squared. Number 9, find the zeros of each function. State the multiplicity of the multiple zeros. So you have y equals x minus 5, x minus 5, x minus 5. So there's 3 x minus 5s. So that's a multiplicity of 3. And x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals 5, 5, 5. It's repeated 3 times. Number 10, we have x equals 0, and then we have x minus 8 equals 0, and that's twice. That's a multiplicity of 2. So x equals 8 is a multiplicity of 2, and this one is a multiplicity of 1. There's only 1.